Hey. Yeah, I guess it's about that time. I said, shoot, it's half past the monkey's ass, quarter to his balls. This stuff is getting crazy, right? I don't know. Like, man, I got the glasses on. That's all I'll say. And you gotta try it, man. Hopefully, most of you that are watching these videos are even maybe higher on the ladder than I am, so that we can all just, like I said, continue to put this stuff together. I've been thinking about this title now because it did say it a few times in the Pierre Sabak book, The Lord of the Host. And I don't know if you noticed it, you would have probably had to watch the video titled Serpent Seed twice to see that they cut some stuff out of the video. So I got to be careful, with these books and things because they do cost a lot of money and everybody's stuff is copywritten. So I'm going to be just putting pictures up, maybe showing the books briefly, and you're going to have to get yours so you can read more into it because I've read a lot more than just what time will allow me to share with you, and pray that I'm conveying it correctly for your inner and under and overstanding. But yeah, that being all said, welcome to the channel. Thanks for being here. I appreciate all of your comments, your likes, and your shares. Like I said, but this one might be a long video too. So this title, The Lord of Hosts, man, I know that it's in the King James. And usually I just reference the King James because that's the only one I studied. I didn't get the NIV. And but what I am seeing is that some of the translations in the NIV are a little bit clearer than the King James. But I'm going to always refer back to the King James because that's the one that matches up with the Strong's Concordance. And you can do this trail down this rabbit hole that I've been down. And I'm telling you, this is not really a rabbit hole anymore. It turned into a viper's nest. And so this terminology here, the Lord of Hosts, is in the King James Old Testament more than 200 and something times. And it's supposed to refer to Yahweh and his angels. But we're going to do a little bit of reading from Pierre Sabak today, and I'm going to show you what I looked up. Give me a second. So it says that that term refers to the Lord of Hosts, refers to God as the supreme leader of heavenly armies, emphasizing his power and authority over all creation. It signifies his command over both celestial and terrestrial forces, often interpreted as Lord of Armies. This title appears frequently in the Bible, particularly the Old Testament, and underscores God's sovereignty and protective care for his people. Okay, so it's supposed to be, like I said, kind of like a term of endearment. So if well, let's see what Pierre Sabak has to say, because when we think about this supreme leader of heavenly armies, we might see something like this in our mind's eye. If you can see, there's a bunch of angels in the clouds, host. I guess that's called a host. But even in the Hebrew, it just means war. We'll jump over there in a minute. It means army, and I don't know if this looks like Jesus. I think he's walking on water. So maybe he's the Lord of the host, they're telling us, or God the Father. I don't know. But this is what we think it means. But when you look up the word host in the English, it doesn't say much about like a heavenly army. The word host itself in English is a person who receives or entertains other people as guests, like a dinner party host. And then in biology, it's used as an animal or a plant, or on or in which a parasite or commensal organism lives. That's what I was thinking when I seen host. When I see Lord of the Host now, all I can think about is this parasite stuff, right? But this was very telling here. A person or animal that has received
transplanted tissue or a transplanted organ. So that takes me back to that island of Attila where they were amalgamating and mixing and doing all kind of stuff. And it also makes me think about that part of our brain that is called the reptilian brain, you know? And then this is very telling too, because it's also a computer that mediates multiple accesses to databases mounted on it or provides other services to a computer network. So that's just saying the master brain. So yeah, the Lord of Hosts. I don't know, this is some kind of AI art. Therefore saith the Lord of the Avessors. This looks like a different language, but this would be what I'm thinking of now, like Lord of the Hosts. I look closely. But all right, we're going to get over and read from Pierre Sabak right now because he broke down that term. And it's all about Osiris in Egypt that we're going to read today. And like I said, I think he is the #1 authority on all of this stuff right now, in our time anyway. He has painstakingly taken the time and went through all of that stuff in the languages and learned all those languages so he could compare the different versions. And his book is very telling. All right. Here we are. Murder of Reality, Pierre Sabak. And we're going to pick it up here with the dog star. I talked about it in that last video, Sirius. It's called the dog star. And we're here to find all we can about the host. It's got some stuff about a musical host. And that's so crazy because I ran downstairs. This is still the Sabbath day when I'm making this video. And I usually listen to music on the Sabbath. I have a TV in my kitchen and it doesn't go to YouTube anymore, so I'm upset at that, but it still goes on to like basic live TV, something like that, and they had on like a marathon of videos for Black History Month. And the very first video that came on was Doja Cat, My Demons. Now, please do not go watch that video if you haven't seen it, because that was my first time seeing it. And it's just so crazy how things work out, because I don't watch TV. And so but since that TV's broke, I have to let it show me what it wants to show me to an extent. And so since I was just trying to hurry up and make dinner, I just picked the music videos. And the first one was that one, Doja Cat. And it was the most sickest thing I ever seen in my life. No, honestly, it really was one of the most sickest things I ever seen in my life. There was a bunch of demons, and she was all over the house. And it was funny because the other person in the video was Wednesday from the Addams family. Okay, so and the demons was coming out of the refrigerator and the cabinets. They're basically telling you where and how they possess you. It has to do with what you eat. And you can do some other things to get them in you too. And because there is an infestation here. That's why this video, the Lord of the Host, I want to know who is the host? Is it us? Oh my gosh. But we're gonna just, man, I'm telling you, these glasses I got on, man, they're like some binoculars with telescopes at the end and some X-ray vision because I'm seeing things on so many layers. I wish I could share it all with you, but eventually I'm going to be deemed as crazy. So just remember when you knew me before I was crazy, all right? But listen, the video thing about this musical host that I just came in here and saw after I saw that crap. It was that video that I said, and then the next one was Usher Confessions, talking about he done made a side baby, And then at the end of that one, he didn't even have a shirt on. He's standing in front of the mirror, and the mirror breaks. And now I don't watch TV, like I said, and so I haven't never seen Usher's video either. And then after Usher's video, Whitney Houston's video came on, the one where she was in that movie Bodyguard. Um, it was called Queen of the Night. And so I just pray for everyone to please stop watching TV because they are getting your subconscious mind to agree to things um, through the visions and things you see. They are planting seeds in your head. And yeah, it's pretty bad. I could I could hear them talking like through the songs, like with the songs and the words, and it was a whole sentence. It was a whole paragraph. It was a whole story, like a Lucifer story, man. I'm telling you. Anyway, I'm so sorry I got off track. We're about to get going now. But this musical host is we are here to read about the Lord of the host. So it was appropriate. And I don't just see things on an accident anymore. So I'll probably debate whether I'm going to cut that piece out. I really don't want anybody to go watch that video. If you've never seen it, then continue to save yourself, you know, um, unless you got those glasses on where you're going to be able to break the spell for others. Just try to put good in. Okay, let's go. So it says the dog star, written in Arabic as Al Khalib, the dog, is also known in Arabic as Al Shira, in Sanskrit Surah, the shining one, transferred into Greek as Sirius, scorching. And I noticed that in some languages it doesn't mean a bad thing, but then when it gets to some other languages, it means a completely different thing. Shining and scorching um, are two different things. Anyhow, it says the appellation dog star is reference to the rising before the morning star and thereby tricking canines into howling. And then it says, conceptually, the dog buy-in symbolizes the musical host, opposite the laughing angel. Identical comparisons are found also in the Latin, conjunct religiously with Sirius. The Lord's host is equated with rapture and singing. I guess in the Latin it's canary. An etymology juxtaposed with the intransitive verb canescere, which means to grow white or become gray. This is why I was thinking about the Grim Reaper, but the Grim Reaper being like, you get old. Anyway, we're just trying to figure out who the host is. Okay. Description of the host thus conveys the dog star, canicular, from the Latin noun canis. It goes on to say that it's got something connection with a ruby, canicula, which means fiery red or ruddy, and that fits with the dual crown of Egypt, red and white. It says that's the dog that follows the hunter Orion. It says Orion in the Greek myth is blinded by the deity Onopion, correlated in Egyptian iconography with the loss of Horus's eye. Significantly, Orion, the hunter, is said to have chased the Pleiades and reiterates the split within the priesthood. The name Orion, Arabic Al-Jabbar, the giant, Hebrew Gibor, is cognate with the shrine, debris or DJ bar, unified with Sirius. The appellation Gibor, giant, alludes to the mythical race, the Anunnaki, gigantic, esoterica, the children of the heavens, that is, Orion. The Semitic word Anunnaki, alternatively Giborim, is translated into Greek as the demigod Titan and named, cataloged with the fallen serpent Satan, the adversary, Greek Titan. Jabbar is listed with the stars Al-Badur, the strong, and Al-Suja, the snake, recorded by Arab astronomers. So he says here, the picture painted in the star constellations bear witness to the most incredible myth, a belief shared universally throughout Asia Minor and the Mediterranean. The chronology and reconstruction of human anthropology, though fragmented and incomplete, is outlined below. So page 333, Murder of Reality by Pierre Sabak. Homo sapiens, survivors of the war with the amphibian race Atlantis, escaped their solar system, the Pleiades, and hid from their aggressors in our own system, probably on Mars. The ensuing war and destruction of Mars, he has Adam in parentheses, with water, marked the near extinction of humankind. Remnants of man's seed are later appropriated and preserved on the moon, an artificially created satellite. All right. The moon's arc, and then he has ARK in parentheses, is drawn in Egyptian iconography as a boat, monumental of human insurrection, relative to the angelic wars. Mortal salvation, timed with the recreation of man, celebrates the covenant decree religiously through the Sabbath, originally a lunar festival. The horned crescent, a mascot of the priesthood, operates as a double signifier of Venus, nominal of the host, and Sirius. War with the amphibian created a need for both races to unite. This biblically is resolved with Eve and Enoch, their children, the Nephilim, Hebrew, the fallen. The narrative sketched out documents the unification of Sirius, which is Osiris, with the Pleiades, and that's Isis. So the unification of Osiris and Isis, figurative of Orion's conception, heralded as the nativity of Horus. Okay, so now this is what I mean about not really somebody being able to see it the way I see it. You may have just heard that the unification of Osiris and Isis, figurative of Orion's conception, is heralded as the nativity of Horus, and think that, oh, that's just a corruption of the Jesus story, and maybe whatever, it's really talking about Jesus or Yeshua or whatever. But you really need to realize that these stories are not just stories, and these beings have created their own religion and acted out every part of the real one in a dark way. And so there is a nativity of Horus, whether you think it was just mythology or not. Okay, now I'm going to stop interrupting so I don't make it way, way long. But a little further down, we're still on page 334. He says that the Chinese word for Shen, Orion, is translated by Shino scholars to mix. And then he says, switching back to the Arabic language, the Palladian tribe, Hebrew, Shabet, settled and became a nation or people. In the Arabic, it's Shab, root word derived from Sab'ah, the homonym, seven or mourn. The Semitic etymon, Sab'ah, personifies the seven sisters, represented as the menorah, seven lights equated with the menstrual cycle. And then in the Greek, he says it's men nor or Ea. All right. And then later, the Shabbat denomination formed the matriarchal priesthood, the Sibyl. Akkadian is Sibula, famed in Arabia as the Sabaeans. Arabic Sabah, Aya, the star people. The dog star celestially is grouped with Osiris, lord of the hosts, situated opposite Horus. Egyptian is Kar, the hunter, and in Greek it's Orion. It says, the rising star Sirius parallels Osiris subsequent to his rebirth as the first king of Egypt. Incarnation of Osiris's begotten son, Horus, makes the succession of the pharaonic line. Okay, and it's going to be important from this, from here on out, that you really know that these stories are not just myths, and they are surely are not the story about the true priesthood. And that's what's coming next. We're going to read about the Nazarim. Okay, so that's exciting. And it's here in Pierre Sabak's book as well. I'll do a little more research and see if I can find anything else about the Nazarim outside of Pierre Sabak's book. But like I said, I think this guy is the authority. So we're going to go one more place and then we're going to get out of here. Okay, we're going to go look at Bullinger's book, the Companion Bible, because there's a couple of appendixes I want you to check out. In case you have any questions about these terminologies, maybe this will help you. You need to go back to that Companion Bible, because in that appendixes, Appendix 32, it has the 134 passages where these group of priests called the Sopharim, tell me what does that look like, altered Jehovah to Adonai. And it explains in a couple of these appendixes why they were doing what they were doing, but this is all the places where the name of God was altered in the King James Bible, the mainstream Bible, I'll say, because, and one other thing, if you go to the list, you can also see in this Companion Bible that they have a whole breakdown on all the divine names and titles in the Companion Bible. And it's pretty interesting that Jah is there, shows up right in the book of Exodus, chapter 15, verse 2. And this is called the Song of Moses. It's right after they were delivered out of Egypt. And he's praising Jah. And the only problem is that it says Jah is a man of war. And so there was some definite scribbling of the scripts that have went on to hide who's talking and when they're talking. It says Adonai is the Lord in his relation to the earth and as carrying out his purpose of blessings in the earth. With this limitation, it is almost equivalent to Jehovah. Indeed, it was from an early date so used by associating the vowel points of the word Yehovah with Adon, thus converting Adon into Adonai. All right, and then so Adon is the Lord as ruler in the earth. We have indicated this in type by printing the preceding article or pronouns in small capitals. All right, and so, and they did this, so they did some special lettering. Here it is. in this companion Bible so you would know which one is talking about. They got Jah translated big like this, the Lord. Right? And yeah, some other places they changed it. Anyway, there's some more information we're gonna read from Pierre Sabak about these titles, Adonai and Shaddai. They go back and connect to something a little more duller than you would think. But all right, I'm gonna get out of here now. You need to check this out so you can know that what they've done in your Bibles. The scribes have scribbled the scripts, like my favorite YouTuber says. Anyway, I'm gonna get out of here, guys. Okay, thanks for watching. Stay tuned to the light, to the love, to peace and harmony. All right, thanks for watching.